Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano. For U.S. News, California lawmakers have a history of trying to keep the state's air and waters clean. Now they're tackling language. The state assembly voted on a resolution last week calling for a statewide cuss-free week to occur annually during the first week of March. If approved, it would go to the state Senate for a final vote. The rest of the next week will be officially swear-word-free if both houses approve the resolution. The resolution by Assemblyman Anthony Portantino was inspired by a South Pasadena teenager, McKay Hutch, who founded a no-cussing club at his junior high school in 2007. His efforts to stamp out profanity have generated international attention, with 35,000 members joining the No Cussing Club's website. Portantino said the California legislature is the first state legislative body in the nation to consider a statewide profanity-free week. Hatch, now 16, said he sees a link between cussing and drug use, bullying, and other harmful behavior. A cuss-free world would be a better one. I want to bring as much awareness as I can to people about their language and how they're speaking to each other, Hatch said. We need to stop tearing people down and uplift them instead. Portantino said his resolution is simply a guideline, a reminder to act like you're at your grandma's house. There would be no enforcement mechanism included. Profanity is rare on the floor of the Assembly or Senate, where lawmakers of both parties try to maintain a sense of decorum even as they engage in heated arguments over legislation. After one former lawmaker used the word hell in the Senate chambers in 2007, senators took time out from a busy day of voting to debate whether it was appropriate to use the word on the floor. Lawmakers eventually agreed to disagree. If the Senate approves the resolution, Portantino said he and his staff plan to deliver a cuss jar to the office of every state lawmaker and the governor. Those who let a foul word slip would be encouraged to deposit money into the jar as penance. Now to Brandon with international news.
Thanks, Angie. In today's international news, after a 30-year career in law, Dominique Varela left his job as the president of a main union for French judges in 2006 and started a website, ejustice.fr, that lets users search for legal resources in France. Mr. Varela developed the site, including the search technology, with an investment of about £27,000 and help from a friend who is an engineer. Aside from a video with an interview in which an unsmiling Mr. Varela explains how ejustice.fr works, the site is short on bells and whistles. Nonetheless, within a few months, it was attracting up to 20,000 visitors a day and selling a modest amount of advertising. That, Mr. Varela says, is where the problems with Google began. Overnight, traffic plunged because the company stopped indexing pages from ejustice.fr for inclusion in Google's search engine. We asked Google, "Why are you doing this? We have no more money," Mr. Varela said. They didn't want to work with us. They didn't want to help us. They didn't want us to exist. More than 3 years later, with traffic to ejustice.fr stuck at about 700 users a day, Mr. Varela has taken his grievances to the European Commission in Brussels. Google disclosed last week that the Commission had begun a preliminary investigation of antitrust complaints from ejustice.fr and two companies called Chow and Foundum that offer online price comparisons. In its initial comments on the investigation, Google suggested that Microsoft lay behind its trouble in Brussels. Google noted that Foundum was a member of a Microsoft finance lobbying group and said that Google's relationship with Chow had gone downhill only after that company was acquired by Microsoft in 2008. Mr. Varela says he is no Microsoft lackey, that they want to say they are fighting Microsoft. But I have no connection to Microsoft. Perhaps on my computer I have a Microsoft Windows operating system, but that's my only connection. Yet Mr. Varela's complaints do echo those of Foundum, which it says too was penalized by Google because it offered competing services. Both Foundum and ejustice.fr are so-called vertical search engines, which provide searches focused on a particular subject rather than the broader worldwide sweep that Google offers. Foundum says that it was downgraded by Google several years ago, which pushed it into web obscurity. It says it has since managed to persuade Google to restore its previous search status. Google declined to comment on Mr. Varela's specific allegations. The company has said that it penalizes some but not all vertical search companies because they are essentially spam, gathering content and links from other sites to generate traffic and ad revenue. In order to maintain the high search quality of Google search, we flag or remove sites that we detect have malware or viruses or don't comply with Google's quality guidelines. The guidelines under which we will take action are publicly documented, and this is standard industry practice among search engines. Mr. Borrella insists that he did not set up ejustice.fr to make a fast euro. Even on its best days, the site was barely generating enough revenue to cover the cost of his computers. He is especially bitter because he says that after meeting with Google, he took the company's advice and replaced his own search technology with custom software provided by Google. But he says ejustice.fr's woes only deepened. Mr. Borrella portrayed his fight with the search giant as an effort to defend free speech, borrowing a theme that Google itself has sounded in a standoff with its Chinese government competition over censorship and in an adverse court ruling in Italy where the Google executives last week were convicted of violating privacy laws. How could we be a problem for Google? It's a joke, says Mr. Borrella. I think we're an example among examples that Google wanted to make.
Ever wished you had sonic hearing? Well, now you can with the amazing Silversonic XL from Bell & Howell. It's lightweight and small, just like a cell phone ear adapter, and it fits your ear just as easily. Its IC chip technology lets you hear sounds from more than 30 yards away, amplifying them up to 50 decibels to give you crisp, clear sonic hearing. The Bell & Howell Silversonic XL is yours for only $19.95, so order now.
Call 1-800-230-7100 or send $19.95 to the address on your screen. That's 1-800-230-7100.
Thank you, Brandon. In health news, for years, health experts have upheld the common belief that poverty has a profound effect on a child's life. For starters, there are the obvious economic disadvantages to being born poor. Children growing up in low-income families are more likely to attend schools that are poorly funded and to live in neighborhoods that are disadvantaged. Poor families have less time and money available for books and college tuition. But dig deeper and you'll see more long-lasting effects of poverty. According to a new study presented at the annual meeting for the American Association of the Advancement of Science, living in poverty can shape the neurobiology of a developing child in powerful ways, affecting children's behavior, health, and how well they do later in life. This study, which focused on children who lived in poverty before the age of 5, found that children growing up in a disadvantaged setting shows a level of reactivity to stress that shows up in hormone levels and neurological brain imaging. The study researchers studied data on more than 1,500 individuals born between 1968 and 1975, evaluation data from 40 years of demographic studies that measured family income during every year of childhood, as well as educational attainment, career achievements, and crime and health statistics. The bottom line of all of this data is that there are striking differences in how the children's lives turned out, depending on whether they were poor or comfortably well off before the age of 6. The researchers described the outcome as the biology of misfortune. For children who live in low-income families, they complete 2 fewer years of schooling and earn less than half as much as families with twice the level of income. As adults, children who grew up below the poverty line receive more than $800 a year more in food stamps, were more than twice as likely to report poor overall health or high levels of psychological distress, and were more likely to be overweight as adults. Poor males are twice as likely to be arrested, and poor women are 6 times more likely than their more affluent age group peers to have a child out of wedlock. So what does this mean for children who are growing up poor today? According to the National Center for Children in Poverty, nearly 13 million American children live in families with incomes below the federal poverty level, which is $20,000 a year for a family of 4. And if the results of this study holds true, the prognosis of these kids is not promising. Fortunately, there are a number of organizations out there working hard to change these statistics for the better. Abby Sunderland, the 16-year-old that is sailing the world to become the youngest female, wrote on her blog Saturday that her parents were worried that she was in the way of a possible tsunami from the earthquake in Chile. Her parents were called to check her position, and the commander's weather said that she was not in any danger. Abby is 3,000 miles offshore, so it was not likely at all for Abby to feel any swells. Abby also said that the wind has shifted from the east, so she is in a comfortable point of sailing. She's excited that she is making good time, and she is keeping Chile in her prayers.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.